The moment we pulled into our driveway after 2 weeks in Hawaii, I knew something was wrong. The curtains in our front window had been changed to a gaudy floral pattern I would never choose, and there was an unfamiliar car parked in our spot. My stomach dropped as I recognized it, my mother-in-law's Mercedes. I'm Emily Walker, and this is the story of how my mother-in-law attempted to steal our house, only to discover she'd made the biggest mistake of her life. Maybe she's just visiting? My husband Tom suggested weakly, though the moving truck in front of our house suggested otherwise. We'd given our spare key to our neighbor Mrs. Chen for emergency purposes, but somehow Diana, my mother-in-law, had gotten hold of it. As we approached our front door, we could hear voices inside and the sound of furniture being moved. "Oh good, you're finally home." Diana threw open the door before we could even use our key. She was wearing an apron and had clearly made herself at home. I'd been redecorating. This place desperately needed a woman's touch. I bit back a retort about already being a woman and this being my house. Behind Diana, I could see that our living room had been completely transformed. Our modern, minimalist furniture had been replaced with ornate antiques and busy patterns that looked like they belonged in a Victorian bed and breakfast. "Mom," Tom said carefully, "what's going on? Why are you here?" "I've moved in," she announced cheerfully. "Surprise. And don't worry about thanking me, the improvements I've made to this shabby little house are thanks enough." Tom and I exchanged shocked looks. We'd bought this house a year ago, carefully saving and planning to make it our perfect home. It was a beautiful craftsman-style bungalow that we'd spent months renovating ourselves. There was nothing shabby about it. "Diana," I said as calmly as I could, "you can't just move in without asking. This is our house." Her smile turned sharp. "Actually, dear, it's 50% my house now. I've invested quite a bit in improving it." "What are you talking about?" Tom demanded. Diana pulled out a folder with what looked like receipts. "I've spent $5,000 on new furniture and decorations. That makes me a significant investor in this property, and since I've already moved in and established residency, I have legal rights." I could hardly believe what I was hearing. This woman thought she could buy her way into ownership of our home with some tacky furniture? "Mom, that's not how property ownership works," Tom tried to explain. "You can't just..." "Oh, can't I?" She cut him off. "I've already spoken to my lawyer. He says that since I've invested in the property and established residency, I have a legal claim. Besides, where else am I supposed to go? I sold my condo." This was news to us. Diana had lived in an upscale condo in the city for the past 20 years. As far as we knew, she loved it there. "You sold your condo? Why?" I asked. "Because I'm getting older. I need my family around me, and since you two selfishly refuse to give me grandchildren, the least you can do is give me a home." Tom and I had been married for 3 years. Our decision not to have children was a constant source of conflict with Diana, who seemed to think her son's only purpose in life was to provide her with grandchildren. "Diana," I said firmly, "you need to leave. This is our house, and we didn't invite you to live here." Her face darkened. "I'm not going anywhere. I've already changed my address and had my mail forwarded here. I'm a legal resident now." "Mom," Tom's voice had an edge I'd never heard before, "get out of our house." "Thomas Richard Walker," Diana gasped. "How dare you speak to your mother that way, after everything I've sacrificed for you?" "Sacrificed?" Tom laughed bitterly. "You mean like when you tried to stop our wedding? Or when you told Emily's parents she was infertile at our rehearsal dinner?" I put a hand on Tom's arm, trying to calm him. "Let's call the police," I suggested quietly. "Let them handle this." "Go ahead," Diana smirked. "I'll tell them how my cruel son and his barren wife are trying to make their poor mother homeless. I'm sure that will look wonderful in the local paper." What Diana didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that I was prepared for something like this. You see, I'm a real estate attorney specializing in property disputes. I'd seen enough family drama in my professional life to take precautions in my personal life. "Give me a moment," I said, walking to our home office. Behind Diana's back, Tom gave me a questioning look. I winked at him. When I returned, I was carrying a thick folder of my own. "Before we call the police," I said pleasantly, "let me show you something, Diana." I pulled out several documents as Diana watched with smug confidence. "This is our deed, showing that Tom and I are the sole owners of this property. This is our mortgage agreement. This is our homeowner's insurance policy. And this," I paused for effect, "is the restraining order I filed 6 months ago when you tried to break into our house the first time." Diana's face went white. "What? There was no restraining order." "Actually, there was. Remember when you tried to climb through our bathroom window while we were at work? Our security cameras caught everything. The judge was very interested in that footage." Tom looked shocked. I hadn't told him about this because I knew how much it would hurt him. But after Diana's previous attempts to interfere in our lives, I'd started documenting everything and taking legal precautions. The restraining order states that you cannot enter our property without our explicit permission, I continued. By moving in while we were away, you've violated that order. That's a criminal offense. You're lying, Diana sputtered. I never received any restraining order. I pulled out another document. Here's the proof of service, signed by you on March 15th. And here's a copy of the security footage from that day, showing you accepting the documents and then throwing them in a public trash can. The judge wasn't happy about that either. Diana's face had progressed from white to gray. Thomas, she pleaded, turning to her son, you can't let her do this to me. I'm your mother. But Tom had found his spine. No, Mom, you're a manipulative person who's trying to steal our home. Emily's right, we're calling the police. As if on cue, there was a knock at the door. Mrs. Chen, our observant neighbor, had already called them after seeing the moving truck and strange activity at our house. When the police arrived, Diana tried to argue that she was a legal resident who had invested in the property. The officers just looked at the restraining order, then at her. Ma'am, one officer said firmly, you need to leave now. You can have someone collect your furniture later, but if you don't exit the property immediately, we'll have to arrest you. But my furniture, my investment, Diana protested. The furniture you brought here without our permission? I interjected. The furniture that's actually damaging our floors because you didn't use proper protectors? We'll be sending you a bill for the repairs. By the way, Diana left that day in the back of a police car, screaming about ungrateful children and legal revenge. Her furniture was removed by a moving company, at her expense, and our floors had to be refinished where her heavy antiques had scratched the hardwood. But that wasn't the end of the story. Over the next few weeks, Diana launched a campaign of harassment. She called Tom's workplace so often they had to block her number. She posted lies about us on social media. She even tried to contact my law firm's clients to spread rumors about my professional integrity. What she didn't know was that I was documenting everything. A month after the moving incident, we received notice that Diana was suing us for the value of her investment in our home. She claimed that by purchasing furniture specifically for our house, she had acquired an ownership interest in the property. The judge took one look at my documentation, the restraining order, the security footage, the evidence of harassment and dismissed her case. But then he did something unexpected. He asked to see all the evidence of her ongoing behavior. Mrs. Walker, he addressed Diana sternly, your actions show a pattern of harassment and attempted property theft. I'm extending the restraining order indefinitely and adding specific provisions about contact through third parties. One more violation and you'll face criminal charges. Diana burst into tears, playing the role of the heartbroken mother. I just wanted to be close to my son. Is that such a crime? No, the judge replied, but breaking and entering, violating a restraining order, and attempted property fraud are crimes. Consider yourself warned. Tom was quiet on the drive home from court. Finally, he spoke. I'm sorry, Emily. I should have seen this coming. Mom's always been controlling, but I never thought she'd go this far. I squeezed his hand. It's not your fault. Some people just can't respect boundaries. I know, but she's getting worse. What if she doesn't stop? He was right to be concerned. Diana's next move proved that she had no intention of respecting the judge's warning. 2 weeks after the court hearing, we received a letter from Adult Protective Services. Diana had reported us for elder abuse, claiming we had stolen her money and forced her out of her home. She had conveniently forgotten to mention that she was only 55 and quite capable of taking care of herself. The APS investigator who came to our house was thorough but fair. I provided all our documentation, including the court records and restraining order. When she learned that Diana had sold her own condo voluntarily and tried to force her way into our home, the investigator closed the case immediately. But Diana wasn't done. Her next attempt was almost clever. She tried to claim she had dementia and therefore wasn't responsible for her actions regarding the restraining order. She wanted the court to assign Tom as her guardian, which would have given her a legal reason to live with us. The doctor she saw for a competency evaluation wasn't fooled. Diana was perfectly competent. She was just manipulative and entitled. Each failed attempt made her more desperate. She started telling family members that Tom was being held hostage in an abusive marriage. She claimed I had tricked him into buying the house and was now forcing him to abandon his poor mother. Most of the family saw through her lies, especially after Tom showed them the security footage of her breaking in and the documentation of her harassment. but a few flying monkeys took her side, leading to some awkward family gatherings. The final straw came when Diana tried to refinance our house using forged documents. She had somehow obtained copies of our personal information and attempted to take out a home equity loan in our names. Fortunately, the bank's fraud department caught it immediately. The signatures were obviously forged, and Diana's desperation had made her sloppy. She had listed herself as a co-owner of the property, which a simple title search disproved. This time, she faced criminal charges for attempted mortgage fraud. The district attorney offered her a deal: no jail time if she agreed to psychological counseling and moved at least 100 miles away. She took the deal, but not before making one last attempt to guilt Tom into stopping the prosecution. "I'm your mother," she wailed during her last court appearance. "How can you let them do this to me?" Tom's response was calm but firm: "You did this to yourself, Mom. Every time you had a chance to respect our boundaries, you chose not to. Every time you could have backed down, you escalated instead. This is the consequence of your choices." Diana moved to Florida, where she presumably found new victims for her manipulation. She still sends Tom guilt-tripping emails occasionally, but he's learned to delete them unread. We changed all our locks, installed a better security system, and finally got our house back to the way we wanted it. The scratches in the floor from Diana's furniture adventure became a funny story we tell at parties after the restraining order was in place and we felt safe again. 3 years have passed since Diana's attempted takeover of our home. Tom and I are stronger than ever, having weathered this storm together. He went through therapy to deal with his childhood trauma and learned to set healthy boundaries with his mother. Our house has become a true sanctuary, filled with the minimalist decor we love and, more importantly, peace. We still don't want children, but we did adopt 2 rescue cats who love lounging in the sunbeams through our tastefully curtained windows. Diana's attempts to gain control of our lives taught us valuable lessons about protecting ourselves legally and emotionally. I've started teaching workshops for newlyweds about property rights and family boundaries, using our story, with names changed, as a cautionary tale. The security cameras that caught Diana's break-in attempts now mostly capture deliveries and our cats' amusing antics, but we keep them maintained, just in case. Some people never truly change, but we can change how prepared we are for their schemes. One unexpected outcome of this ordeal was how it affected our relationships with other family members. Those who sided with Diana showed us who they really were: people who would enable toxic behavior rather than face uncomfortable truths. Tom's relationship with these relatives changed fundamentally. He realized that anyone who would support his mother's attempted theft of our home wasn't someone he could trust in his life. My law firm now specializes in helping people protect themselves from family members trying to claim property rights. Diana's case, while extreme, isn't unique. Many people face similar situations with entitled relatives who think family connections give them property rights. I've developed a comprehensive checklist for homeowners to protect themselves from family property fraud. It includes everything from proper security measures to legal documentation of ownership and boundaries. Tom's journey to overcome his mother's manipulation was difficult but transformative. Through therapy, he learned that her behavior wasn't about love, it was about control. Her attempt to steal our house was just the most dramatic example of her lifelong pattern. We've created new family traditions with the relatives who stood by us, building a chosen family based on respect and healthy boundaries. Our home has become a gathering place for people who understand that love doesn't mean ownership. Sometimes I think about Diana in her Florida condo, probably plotting her next scheme, but her power over us is gone. We've built something she can never take away: a strong partnership and a peaceful home protected by both legal documents and emotional boundaries. The floral curtains she hung in our front window became a symbol for us. We donated them to a thrift store and replaced them with simple, elegant panels that match our style. Every morning when I see them, I'm reminded that our home is truly ours, protected not just by locks and legal papers, but by our determination to live life on our own terms. Diana's attempt to claim our house taught us that sometimes the biggest threats to our peace come from those who claim to love us most, but it also showed us that with proper preparation, documentation, and a united front, we can protect ourselves from even the most determined manipulators. Our house isn't just a building, it's a testament to our strength as a couple and our right to live free from toxic control. Every room holds memories of our victory over manipulation, and every day we spend here is a reminder that love doesn't require surrender. Sometimes the best revenge against someone who tries to steal your peace is simply living well in the space they couldn't take from you.